How goes it, everyone? My name is Nikki, and today I am bringing you the video I promised several months ago. Sorry about that. So, back in September of last year, I purchased a Lego Rivendell set. I'm gonna move to the side, and you can see it on my desk there, kind of behind the bed. It is a really cool set, and what I decided to do with it was film myself putting it together, film it, some parts of it on time-lapse, like the actual building parts, show myself building the minifigures and kind of talking about the set. I filmed it all. It took me 19 and a half hours over the span of 5 days. Long time. But it turned out great, so I got the footage together, I edited the video, I started exporting it, and just as I started exporting it, my laptop crashed. And after I recovered it, I lost my whole first day of footage. Yay. So, I allowed myself a bit of a panic spiral, but then eventually I calmed down and realized maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Because the final video of that version ended up being about 2 hours long, and I don't think anyone would want to watch a video of that length. So eventually I decided to redo the video entirely. Now initially when I filmed it, I had talked about my overall thoughts on the set at the end when I was done building, and decided to basically remake the video in that style, but just me at my desk. This video is going to be in 2 parts. I'm going to first talk about the set itself, and then I'm going to talk about the minifigures. I have more to say about the minifigures, but I do have a lot to say about the set itself, so we'll start with that. The biggest downside to the set probably is the price. I mean, Lego's expensive, this is nothing new, but this set was 6,100 pieces, and the price after tax was $535. Yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely worth it if you can afford it, but I would understand if someone can't. The first thing I immediately noticed about the set that stood out to me was the instruction books. At the beginning of the instruction book, there was commentary from the designers of the set, basically explaining why they wanted to do this, how they put it together. And all throughout the book, there's little pieces of commentary saying, here's what we did here, here's this little detail we added here, and I absolutely love that. I feel like it just goes to show how truly talented and passionate these designers were when it came to this set. And that also shows in the set itself. There is so much detail in it that is just so impressive. Little things like the paintings hung up everywhere, the statue with the broken sword that later ends up getting fixed, the detailings on the buildings and the roofs. The roof of the main section took me like an hour to build, but it was worth it because it came out amazing. The river details, the gazebo, it all just looks amazing. Now, one of the big issues with the set itself, this was done deliberately, but it's still kind of a bit of a pain. The set is basically designed in 3 sections. You have the first section you build is the tower, where Frodo is staying and Bilbo sits and writes his book. The second section is the river and the gazebo, which sits on top of Weapons Forge. And the third section is the main section, which has the main halls, the giant tree, and the council section where they actually sit and have the meeting. And some parts of the set are in there very loosely, like the top of the tower is super loose, it comes up very easily. The gazebo is really easily moved. Now this was done intentionally because you can't really access the writing desk from going inside the tower, you kind of need to lift it up. Same goes to the Weapons Forge, it's under the gazebo, so you really need to lift the gazebo to actually be able to get in there and put stuff in there. So it is intentional, it's a feature, not a bug, but it is still kind of a bit of a hassle when you're transporting the set. I built the set in what my family calls a bonus room, what you might call a TV room, and I had to move it to my dresser to be displayed, and it's kind of a pain. Technically, the 3 pieces are supposed to be, interlocked together. I ended up not displaying it that way because anytime I wanted to, take out a minifigure, for example, take some out to show them on camera in a minute, I would have to, completely pull the pieces apart, which was a bit of a hassle. And unfortunately, there's a lot of detailing that goes on the back side, so what I did was place it in front of my mirror there, so you can look in the mirror and see all the stuff. And also the little council section comes up and can be displayed by itself, which was done intentionally, but that isn't quite as loose as the tower or the gazebo, so it's not quite as hard to transport. And if you lift up, there's actually a little mini Eye of Sauron underneath because he's always watching, which is really cool. That piece was meant to be something you could display separately if you want, which is why it is the way it is. Now this set's actually rated 18+, which had nothing to do with the content at all. Now the movies may be PG-13, but the books were written for kids. There's not really anything super intense in there. It's something to do with the content of the set. It's all to do with the fact that architecturally speaking, is pretty difficult for a kid to put together. There's so many little bits and pieces and tiny details that are really easy to mess up. There was a little small house in there, I don't know if you can see it, which is attached to the main section. I completely messed up on that section of the roof and had to redo it. And the big roof on the main section, again, took like an hour to build. It was not fun to do the roof for an hour, but it looks really good, so it's worth it. This is definitely not a beginner Lego set. Just because it's so massive, there's so many pieces, stuff's easy to lose, and because of the little details, this is definitely something that you shouldn't buy for your first Lego set. If you've been building Lego for years and years like I have, then yeah, definitely go for it, but 100% not a set for beginners. Speaking of losing pieces, I was actually missing a piece in the set. Well, I was missing two. One, I found a decent enough substitute in my giant bin of miscellaneous Legos that I have. The other one, I could not find a substitute for. So I emailed Lego, I explained the situation, and they were very understanding and they sent me a new piece. Now, I can't blame them too much. Like I said, this set has 6,100 pieces, which is a lot. So losing one piece, forgetting to put one piece in there, all can be forgiven. The trouble is that piece is kind of important. It's part of like the pieces that go into the side that they kind of have to like kind of on the side of the tab where we have to like push them in. You can't put it in with the piece that was missing. It won't look right. It won't fit right. So I did have to technically wait until I got that new piece before it was done. But again, giant set, lots of pieces, and they sent me one for free, so I can't complain too much. I think that is about all I have to say about the set itself. Like I said, it's really nice, the details are great, but I don't really have that much overall to say about it other than it's good. What I really want to talk more about is the minifigures. So for those of you who don't know, the Hobbit / Lord of the Rings theme was out in like 2012, 2014 when the Hobbit movies were coming out, and then the theme was eventually retired, meaning all those sets of minifigures, you can't find them on the Lego website, you gotta buy them secondhand. Side note, if you want to buy any of them, Bricklink, definitely recommend. They are owned by Lego, they will guarantee that you get real Lego, and they're pretty reasonably priced on there. When Lego brought the theme back, they also updated the minifigures. As you can see that little lavender shelf behind me, that's a display of minifigures. Some of them were from old sets that I had, some of them I'd collected later on, but I don't have most of the ones that were present in this set. Actually, I don't think I got any of the characters that were in this set in like their older forms. So I can't really compare those to you, but I can tell you what the difference is. It's probably the biggest change to the Hobbits is they now have bare feet. This is the Frodo minifigure that came with the Rivendell set. Focus camera. And you can see he's got bare feet, just like the Hobbits do. That was not a feature in the original Hobbit minifigure design, but it does look really good. Another thing that is common in some Lego themes, especially in this one, is the heads have two different expressions. So I took off Frodo's hair, you can see there's one face, and if I turn it around, there's his the face when he gets stabbed by the Nazgul and gets poisoned. Basically, all of the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings minifigures, if they have a traditional headpiece, will have two expressions. And that has been true for basically all of them. And that remained true in this new set. However, there were three characters who only have one expression. They were Gandalf the Grey, Gloin, Gimli's dad. This is Old Gloin. By the way, this is the first time we've seen Old Gloin and Old Bilbo. Previously, we only got younger iterations in the Hobbit sets, and also Gimli. Now, these three characters, if you didn't notice, have very big bushy beards, which cover the lower half of their face. And so, if you look on some of the older dwarf minifigures with the big beards, even when you switch their facial expressions, they don't look all that different. So it is understandable why they wouldn't want to bother giving them two expressions, because you're not going to see much of a difference. Now, one of the best changes that they made to the dwarf minifigures is they gave them longer legs. So, in the old sets, the hobbits and dwarves and child characters had short legs. That was to, differentiate them from the elves and the men and the adults. But now, the dwarves have these kind of medium-sized legs. I'll pull up. You can see next to Frodo, his legs are actually a little bit longer. But next to Legolas, they're shorter. And previously, the dwarf characters couldn't sit down because the short legs don't bend, but now they can, which is really cool. Speaking of sitting down, we actually have a way to make those short little hobbits sit down now, where this is what Frodo looks like, and now we have these two brick-built leg pieces. So I'm going to swap them out. I'm going to put them on. And now you can see he's sitting, which is really cool. And Bilbo's actually in the set. He's sitting, so these are his normal legs when he's not sitting. And they do look really cool. That is a really cool way for the characters to be able to sit. Now, the one downside to this is, if you look at Frodo's legs, they're actually the color of his jacket, not his pants. His pants are a little darker. And because all of the other three Hobbit characters, Sam, Merry, and Pippin, have the same color legs as Frodo, you'd think you would be able to use these leg pieces, but technically you can't. It's going to actually look a little bit wrong. And those are the only 5 characters, the 5 Hobbit characters, who have the short legs. So why not make one that's all the same color so they can all sit down properly? It's a bit of a strange choice, but I mean, if you put the legs on, I guess no one's really going to notice. Now, the other new change to the sitting down pieces is through the dress pieces. So you can see Gandalf has this kind of dress robe piece. So initially dress robe pieces would go straight back. Now they kind of slope back. Not really any better or worse, I don't think, but, you know, definitely different. Now what I can do with Gandalf is I have this brick-built little dress piece. I can put them on, put the hat back on, and now he can sit. And Elrond, who has a dress piece, also have one of those. Elrond, on my set, is currently sitting, so this is what his non-sitting bottom leg piece looks like. It's so cool they're able to sit now. However, there are two other characters in the set who have these dress pieces. It's Arwen and some random elf girl, and neither of them have one. The random elf girl, she's not an important character, so I get it, but Arwen can't sit. That's kind of a strange choice, to be honest. I feel like they should have made one for her, too. I feel like that should have been their 2 things. 1, make those brick-built hobbit legs all the same color for the 4 younger hobbits, and B, give Arwen a sitting down piece. So I like the idea, I like that they're adding it in, but I feel like there's a couple ways they could have, modified it and made it better. Now, most of these character designs look fairly similar to their old iterations. So here's an old form of Legolas in this outfit, and then this is Rivendell Legolas. As you can see, they're fairly similar, but the big thing that bothers me about the elves is their hair pieces. Different elves would have different hair pieces in the old sets. Legolas, as you notice, has this hair, where it's kind of all tied back. Also, all the elves have the giant ears. Why the hobbits don't get those, I don't know, because they have pointy ears too. But that's besides the point. Elrond and Galadriel had this kind of hair piece with a crown attached to it. And with Elrond, the little crown is kind of printed onto his headpiece now, because all the elves basically have this same hairpiece with this style, 2 pieces in front, and it's either brown or blonde depending on the elf. Now, unlike the hard plastic that the old hairpiece is made out of, this is now made of a soft kind of rubber material. And I believe the old Elrond Galadriel hairstyles also have that kind of material. As did Thranduil. This is a Thranduil minifigure, and he also kind of has this flexible material, if you can see. Now, the trouble with this is just that there's no variety among elf hair pieces anymore. They're just all the same texture and style, just different colors. Which wouldn't be bad, except Legolas doesn't really have his hair like this. If you watch the movies, his hair is pretty much like the old style, where it's all back all the time. So I like the idea of using this kind of softer, flexible material, but I don't like that all the elves had the same hairstyle, and I don't like that they gave a hairstyle to a character who doesn't really wear his hair like this a lot. He mostly has it back all the time. But overall, I think the new designs do look really good. Some of them are pretty close to their old ones, some of them are a little bit different. Also, they swapped hair colors with 2 of the hobbits. It was Sam and Pippin, or Sam and Merry, I don't know off the top of my head. One of those pairs had their hair colors swapped, so it's a little different now. From what I've heard, it's not quite as accurate to the movies with the hair color swap. I don't know why they did it, but it's not really that big of a deal. Honestly, I feel like more of these minifigures looked good than looked bad. Oh, right, one more thing. So Gimli and Gandalf actually have 2 hair pieces. Gimli is currently wearing his helmet, but if he doesn't, he can have this red hair piece. And Gandalf can have this long gray hair, or his hat. And if I pull him off right now and show you swap, there's Gandalf with his long gray hair, which is really cool. I like the variety. I typically keep the hair and the helmet on because I think it just looks a little bit better, but it is there if you want it. That's about all I have to say about this set in particular, but I want to take this opportunity to talk about something else that's been on my mind. See, when LEGO brought this theme back, they released Rivendell in 2023, they released the Tower of Barad-dûr last year, and then this year, actually a couple days from now, we're going to be able to purchase a Shire set. It's Bag End, basically, and a couple small pieces. It's from the beginning of the movie, where Bilbo has his birthday party, and then goes off to Rivendell. There's 9 minifigures in it. It looks really cool. There's so many cool details in it. I am definitely going to buy that one when it becomes available, put that together, and then do a review on that one later. The point that I'm trying to make is that, obviously LEGO sees that Lord of the Rings is still a profitable franchise, even over 20 years after it came out. There's always new adaptations being made. There was Lord of the Rings movies, and the Hobbit movies, and then in the past couple of years alone, we've gotten the Rings of Power series, we've gotten that War of the Rohirrim movie, and that new Hunt for Gollum movie that's supposed to be coming out in a couple of years. People love Middle-earth, and they always have, and this is one of the biggest franchises in the world. This is something you could honestly keep going in perpetuity, especially because you're talking about books with thousands of years of lore, so many characters with such interesting stories. There are so many types of stories you can make and tell, and so much merchandise to create. So I am really glad that LEGO saw this and capitalized on it. And now the theme is back. Why stop here? I think we should keep going. The thing about sets when it comes to movies and TV shows, they're usually iconic scenes and locations. So we got Rivendell, the Tower, the Shire, and the old sets used to be places like the Battle of the Five Armies, the attack on Weathertop, the Battle of the Black Gate, stuff like that. So I think that this is going to be a good opportunity for LEGO to give us new sets and scenes that we've never seen before in form. If I were to pitch an idea to LEGO, I would say we need a Minas Tirith set. More than anything, I want a Minas Tirith set. So you get updated Gandalf the White, Pippin and Gondor armor, and official minifigures for Faramir and Denethor, who have never gotten any before. And there's not an official Éowyn minifigure either, which you could totally do something with. They should do the Battle of Pelennor Fields too. That would be a great opportunity to come with an Éowyn minifigure, add some new stuff. Maybe they can give us those elephant things. I don't actually know what they're called or how to pronounce it. But there's just so much opportunity here for LEGO to do so many cool things with this franchise, and I think they should go all out on it. I also think LEGO should make Ace Attorney sets, but hey, that's just me. That's just the way I see it. So that's about all the time I have for today. I want to say thank you all so much for watching. And if you're interested in buying the Rivendell set, I will leave a link in the description where you can go check it out. And you should definitely expect a review of that new Shire set once I'm done building it. I have no idea when I'm going to get it, when it's going to be able to come in, but once it comes in and it's done, I will gladly make a review of that for you. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye!